Chapter 15, Oliver. Practice was brutal today. Apparently, Mark is joining the ranks of team captains who take their heartbreak from Lynn out on the team. At least with football in full swing, all he can really do is make us run longer and do more reps of exercise during warm-ups. It'd be so much worse if it was still two-a-days and we were having captains' practices. On the upside, Lynn has the later fall league game tonight, so we have time to come home and shower before heading back up to the school. I'm looking forward to having some peace and quiet before we have to leave, especially since Grayson talked nonstop about homecoming on the way home. I didn't think he'd be the type to care about homecoming court or another dance, but you'd think he was talking about making it to the playoffs when he was going on about being homecoming prince. Maybe being popular is more important to him than I'd have thought. I told you about this dinner months ago, Hugh. The firm partners will all be there. My mother's voice carries from the kitchen. And I told you about this dinner 2 weeks ago, Regina. It's with our biggest client. I can't miss it. You should have said something if you wanted me to try to reschedule, my father responds. I can tell by what they're saying that they're arguing, but you can't really tell from the tone of their voices. They could be discussing the weather for all the emotion they're showing. I don't think I've ever seen my parents fight, and that's not because they have a stellar relationship. They both seem rather indifferent to each other and are more married to their careers than each other. It makes me very thankful they hired Mama Kingston as our nanny. You can see Lynn's parents' love for each other shining through all of their actions, even when they're balancing everything with all of their kids. They've always treated the Knights like they treat the rest of their kids, and that didn't stop when we aged out of needing a nanny. Even when we were little, Stella went above and beyond any other nanny. She'd come get us even when our parents were home to take us with them to church or the park. They even took us with them on their family vacations. I never missed having my parents be involved in my life because Stella and Theo were already there, loving and supporting us. Don't worry about it now. We'll just each go to our own work dinner. My mother's statement brings me back to the present. Sounds good to me. They both walked past Grayson and me on their way to the garage with barely a nod to acknowledge our presence. It's probably a good thing that they set up an auto draft to our account for food and gas each month. Otherwise, they'd forget to do that, like how they seem to forget we exist most of the time. The closest either of them has come to parenting was when they decided we were old enough to not have a nanny and therefore be responsible for ourselves. My father gave Grayson and I each a book on money management and went to the bank with us to open our own accounts. When we got home, our mother told us the monthly amount they had allotted for each of us, and if we thought that wasn't fair or enough, we could set up a time to discuss it. They both went to their home offices. Grayson dumped his budgeting book in my room before going to Lynn's house to play ball. I tried to read it, but didn't understand most of it. I took it across the road to Stella. She and Theo helped us with budgeting and reassured us that it didn't matter how old we were. They were there for us, and that was for always. When I get out of the shower, I see a text from Lynn in the Knights group chat. Kingston, dinner in 10. It was sent almost 10 minutes ago, and everyone else has responded with some sort of acknowledgement. I send a thumbs up before quickly getting dressed and heading next door. I'm not surprised to find the rest of the Knights already there. Even Grayson beat me here. I sit down, and Theo thanks God for the food and all of our many blessings. He says amen, and then thanks his wife for preparing the pot roast. Theo asks everyone about their day, and Stella keeps the chaos to a minimum. The threat of an early bedtime keeps Lynn's 3 youngest brothers from causing too much mischief. It's hard to really listen to anyone because everyone talks over one another. I take the hectic noise of this home to the silence and emptiness of my house any day. Lynn and Jed are sitting at the table, but they're only eating peanut butter crackers since they're about to go play a game. Stella reminds them she already set aside roast for each of them in the fridge for after they play. Jed's mom shows up, still in her scrubs from work, and gratefully accepts a to-go container and a hug from Stella before taking Jet and Lynn up to the school for warm-ups. They could drive themselves, but since Julia works all the time, she tries to squeeze out as much time with Jet as she can. Lynn adores her and tends to crash their mother sometime. Not that either of them seem to mind. After we finish eating, I put away the leftovers. Tristan helps Stella clean the kitchen, and Daniel and Xander help Theo wrangle all of Lynn's brothers into the car. It's only when we're loading up with Xander in his SUV that I notice Grayson already left with our SUV presumably back to the school. I don't know what's up with him today. Is now a good time to talk about the Queen of Punk? Tristan asked once all the car doors are shut. I closed my eyes and leaned my head against the headrest like that might somehow make him drop it. Who's the Queen of Punk? Xander glances at us in the rearview mirror. No one, I say at the same time Daniel says, Kaylee Cobb. Xander nods. Fitting. Why does Oliver not want to talk about her? Because he learned to play guitar to impress her despite becoming an awkward dork whenever he tries to talk to her. Daniel, the traitor, says from the front seat. In other words, he loves her. Tristan is being equally unhelpful. I don't love her. I've barely talked to her. I know my protest will fall on deaf ears. But you want to talk to her? Daniel turns around to look at me like that makes his point hold more weight. He learned guitar. He wants to serenade her. Tristan leans towards me, batting his eyes while using his annoying sing-song voice. Tristan and Daniel go on about me having a crush on Kaylee and how I should just go talk to her and ask her out. Things like I'm a knight and she'd definitely say yes. Xander makes eye contact with me via the rearview mirror and raises a single eyebrow that managed to say more than the other two combined. Xander gets how difficult it is for me to just talk to someone I don't know. He's the same way. He also conveys his thoughts on me learning guitar, and he's right. I hate public speaking. In what world did I think I would be able to sing a song in front of people? Especially when that song exposes my feelings for someone who most likely doesn't feel the same way. Xander finally takes pity on me and says, Tristan, how are things with your neighbor? You know, the one you said was cute? Tristan lets out a groan. Ugh. I said that one time. Once. And that was before she'd ever opened her mouth. Now I know she's just an annoyance dressed like a frumpy librarian. I didn't know you actually listened to girls when they talked, Xander teases. I catch Xander's slight smirk and know he's intentionally stirring Tristan up to distract him. I listen. It's not my fault they see all of this, Tristan gestures to his face and chest in an over-the-top way, and would rather be making out than talking. Yet you wonder why your neighbor thinks you're arrogant. Daniel rolls his eyes. It's not arrogance if it's true. The perfect princess just hates that I have a social life and she clearly doesn't. Tristan spends the rest of the trip complaining about his neighbor.